trike designed wing. It is a wing that is designed for trike flying.
Hey guys, welcome to the Aviator Show. I'm Jacob Hutzler, and today we got another wing review for you. We're going to be unboxing the RoadMAX, and I'm going to be giving you my first impressions of it. Let's go fly.
Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out.
All right, we're going to go here for a test flight, maiden flight of the RoadMAX. All right, I'm ready. I'm going to clear my airspace real quick. We got Sandy coming in for a landing. Don't see any planes. Looks like we're good to go. A little bit of power. Very nice. Comes up with like almost no power whatsoever. Handles great on the ground. Windy today. All right, let's go. Look at that. No problem getting off the ground with this thing. It is a 32-meter wing. I'm 140 pounds flying this Flash Cruiser with a Polini 303 on it. So, you know, I'm not the heaviest guy. The maximum weight range on this wing is 250 kilos. So well over 500 pounds you can fly on this wing. So I'm barely using the potential of the weight range on this wing. What I will say right off the bat is it's incredibly stable. It is not the smoothest morning out here in Lake Wales. Obviously you can see it's pretty significantly windy. We have a pretty strong layer of wind up high. So as I climb up here higher and higher, you can see my ground speed will drop off slower and slower. Now, the RoadMAX has a pretty big trim range. You can see out there, we have quite a lot of trims to let out. We do have the nice trike handle for the trim. So when you let these trims out, it actually takes a little bit of effort to pull them back in. So you have this nice steel bar that you can pull down on to bring that in. This is a trike designed wing. It is a wing that is designed for trike flying, and trike flying specifically. You can tell everything on the riser has a lower set hang point than it would typically. Like your tip steering toggles are right down here at your clip-in point instead of being kind of midway up like they would typically be on your Spider or Sirocco. And your brakes are also set lower as well, so it's easier to grab them while you're in a trike with a high hook-in point. So this wing is designed for trike flying specifically, and that's what it does well. One of the other things you'll note about the wing is it has winglets. If you've been following on with Ozone's latest lineup of wings, you'll notice that they're starting to go with this winglet route. The Viper XC has it, and the Mojo Max also has winglets. What the winglets do is they provide an enormous amount of roll stability. So roll stability is you rocking back and forth like this, which under a paramotor is typically something that you would have to actively dampen with brake input to keep yourself flying straight, especially when you start getting into higher aspect ratio wings. Now, when you put winglets on your wing, what happens is it dampens that roll oscillation out. So the wing naturally wants to fly straight, level, and center with very little pilot input. So I'll show you that right now. I'll take a lot of right brake input and then I'll release it all at once, something you typically never want to do, and you'll see how much this wing rolls back and forth. Now it's bumpy, so it's hard to kind of, get your, it's hard to disregard the bumps, but you can see, I mean, that's like, it basically doesn't swing at all. I'll do it again for you guys to the left. So big pull, big release. We'll just go hands up to the pulleys, and we swing once, swing a tiny bit back, and now we're flying pretty much straight. It just wants to fly locked in level, straight and level. So it's perfect for those trike flyers. One thing that's not as enjoyable about the trike is you lack, usually depending on the trike option that you get, you lack the ability to weight shift. And that makes it a little bit more of work on yourself as the pilot to keep that wing flying straight, because in a foot launch unit, you can simply stow your brakes and continue to steer yourself an active pilot just by using your weight shift authority. On a trike, you can't do that, so it kind of means you have to stay on the brakes your entire flight, which can get tiring after a long time. Your hands are up here, your arms would get tired. Normally, on a trike wing, if it was like a bumpy day like today, you wouldn't have the option of going, you know, stowing both brakes like I'm about to now, and just relaxing in your trike, because your wing would build oscillation. It wouldn't slowly dissipate oscillation. It would get worse and worse and worse until you actually make an input as the pilot. So now this wing, you can tell we're drifting off to our left a little bit with this Polini motor. With the clockwise rotation of the prop, we're going to turn to the left. I can adjust that by letting my left side trim out. And I can start turning. I'm starting to turn a little bit to the right because I'm letting that side, that wingtip, fly faster. So as that wingtip wants to fly faster, we're going to turn to our right. And as I get back to the heading I want, I can adjust this trim in a little bit, and I can get ourselves flying straight. And now I could basically sit here in my trike and make no inputs on this pretty bumpy day, when normally your trike would be hitting bumps and rocking back and forth. You'd be having to make your active piloting inputs. This wing is incredibly stable. It just wants to fly straight and level. It eats the bumps for breakfast. It's a fantastic wing. The Roadster, if anyone doesn't know, the Roadster is kind of the sister wing of the Spider. The Spider is a low B wing. It's a wing that's suitable for even beginner pilots. It's one step up from the Mojo. They're true beginner A-class wing. But the Spider and the Roadster are wings that a pilot can start to get into towards the end of their training. Around 25, 30 flights, a pilot who's doing well with their skills, they could transition up to a Spider without too much difficulty. And it gives them, the big things it gives a pilot are your ability to increase your speed. Now, on the Mojo Max, they do have quite a large trim range on the Mojo Max, so you can actually get quite a bit of speed flying the Mojo Max under the trike. But the normal Mojo Power 2 has a pretty limited trim range, so you're flying pretty slow. The Spider and the Roadster, they upgrade that trim range, so you can fly fast and keep up with all your buddies and cover some more ground so you can see some more stuff in the air. The Roadster, the difference between the Roadster and the Spider is very slight. It's the construction of the wing on the Spider is lighter weight. So they use lighter weight fabrics, lighter weight malleons, lighter weight everything to try to keep the weight down. Now, the reason why that's really nice when you're foot launching is it makes the inflation characteristics of the Spider really favorable, especially in light wind. The Spider, it's like it's filled with helium. It just pops up and stays up, and it's fantastic when you're the one having to make the power by running across the ground. Now, when you're talking about a trike launch, you don't have to make the power by running. So the lightweightness of the wing is actually not something you're going to be favoring towards on a trike, because trike launch, you're inflating the wing with power. It's a very chaotic, it's a very hectic event for the wing as that power is hitting that wing and it's getting whipped back and tugged around and swirled. So you want a heavier construction when you're trike launching. So that's why it's the Roadster Max and not the Spider Max. It's because you want that heavier, that tougher construction to take the trike launch. Now, one thing I will point out is even with the heavier construction of this wing, the wing came up no problem. I was using, like, it felt like 30%, no more than 50% power to really get the wing up and overhead. And then to get off the ground, obviously, it didn't feel like more than 50% power as well. It's really, I mean, the wing, it wants to fly. So it's part of that ability for the wing to just be so easy to inflate is Ozone's shark nose technology. So the shark nose technology, if you don't know, is the design of the leading edge is kind of hooked up. So the leading edge, when it's on the ground, kind of wants to present its openings up a little bit rather than laying flat on the ground. And it helps increase the inflation characteristics and make it a lot easier. These older wings, pilots are used to like hammering the A's forward, like pushing as hard as they can to get that wing to come up. These newer wings with that shark nose technology, it's just little tiny bit of pressure on that A's. Too much pressure actually is bad because it'll pull that leading edge and ruin that shark nose. It'll pull the shark nose over and kind of cut off the air supply, inflating that wing. All right, let's see what kind of, he's asking to get above the haze. Let's see what kind of climb rate and everything we're looking at here. Not even max power, and I'm getting, yeah. Go to a different app. All right, here we go. Alright, so we are going 12 miles an hour into the wind. So turning downwind, we're cooking. Around 40 miles an hour downwind. 15 into the wind, average that out. Is like 25 mile an hour. So you can see example of the winglets from the third person now. So we have very similar winglets on this wing. And just like this wing, it makes the Viper XC a true pleasure to fly. Getting under these clouds again is going to be difficult. I have my hole over here. Always got to have a hole. Alright. That's a life lesson for you kids. But, you know, you always want to have an out too. So just like you want to have a hole, you always want to have an out. And it's getting worse too, because as I get lower, I get less ground speed forward into the wind, which I'm heading right now. And it makes it so my options are limited. Like right now, my option is right beside me to my right there. I'm going to try to maintain this altitude as we come in. And then there's power lines that we have to worry about with this road. So if I do have an engine out, I'll be making a downwind turn. So all this time I'm thinking like engine out now, engine out now, engine out now, what do I do? And you can even simulate this for yourself. If I had an engine out now, I would have enough time to turn my downwind and get to them. But at a certain point, as I start crossing this runway, or this road here, I'm gonna run out of room to turn downwind and clear those power lines on the other side. So I'm gonna be making a extremely tight landing in one of these options right here below me. And in that case, you really just want your spot landing practice dialed in. And now I'm going to turn myself off to the left here. I can use these trucker parking lots. I can move myself in there. Got to worry about the power lines over the road. Or I can use this industrial center right here. And then once I clear these trees, I can use the grass on the other side. So I'm going to try to get a little bit more altitude here. Very good. Awesome. So now I know if I have power right here, I can clear these trees. I'll land in some rough brush, you know, some tall brush, but I won't land in trees. I'll be able to get out of that without too much difficulty. I'm going to come in for a landing here. Man, this is just so much fun.
Wow, just got done flying the Roadster Max, and let me tell you, that wing is a treat to fly. It is so passively stable. It is excellent for those beginner trike pilots who want a little bit extra speed. It's got all the stability you would ever want flying a trike, and it also has the ability to rip around and really have some fun with it as well. Let me say, I think it's the perfect trike wing. Even beginner pilots up to those advanced pilots, it can still throw around, do wing overs, do all the kind of tricks and stuff you want to do. But it's got that passive stability, those winglets that you can just rely on. You go hands up and even the biggest oscillation, and it takes 2 swings to settle back to center. It is just so passively stable. It's got a huge weight range on it, up to 250 kilos. So you can fly 2 light people, this thing can fly tandem. But other than that, you can fly on a big trike up to the biggest trikes they sell, right at that FAR 103 limit of 250 pounds with a big guy on it, and you still have enough comfortable weight left over to fly any extra gear that you might want. If you want to load up the front of your trike with camping gear, whatever you want to do, this wing has got the ability to do whatever you want. It is the perfect all-around trike wing. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the air.